Chapter 44. As soft as plush, as hard as stone. The present.
I didn't think shifters could get drunk.
Caden tilted his head to the side as he regarded a swaying, smiling, flushed Valerius, who was looking back at him as if he were a plushie that Valerius would like to squeeze. We can't. We couldn't. I thought we couldn't. But Marbon has a magical liquid that changes all of that. Valerius took 2 large steps towards Caden and grasped Caden's shoulders. The squeezing had begun.
Oh, magic liquid?
Caden was smiling uncertainly. He liked being touched by Valerius, but was slightly alarmed by the Black Dragon King lifting him off of his feet by 6 inches with astounding ease. He knew that Valerius was simply this strong, but he'd also taken some kind of drug.
Or would it be considered a potion if it really is magical and not pharmaceutical?
Ambrosia? Marbon put a finger against his nose and nodded conspiratorially.
Oh, it's a drug. Man, Valerius is going to never live this down. If anyone else sees him like this, it's bad enough that Marban is, though Valerius is rather an adorable drunk.
It is truly the food, or rather drink, of the gods. Valerius enthused as he spun Caden around in a circle. He ended up setting Caden down as he stumbled. Caden laughed even as his head spun. He quickly steadied the much larger, staggering Valerius, who thanked him and touched his nose. Boop!
Did you just boop me?
Caden's eyebrows were up in his hairline. You have a very cute nose. Everything about you and Iolaire is cute, small and cuddly and...
Hey,
Caden blushed as he glanced at Marbon, lowered his voice and said,
Sexy. I am sexy, not cute.
Valerius went to boop his nose again. Caden successfully avoided it. Valerius giggled. Valerius giggled. Never did Caden think he would hear such a sound from Valerius's lips, but there it was.
She only let you go out like this?
Caden gestured to their very inebriated states.
You didn't drive here, did you? Please tell me drunk driving is not to be added to your list of things you did today.
Valerius and Marbon exchanged a look that had them both bursting into laughter. No, no. We have a driver. Neither of us was even inclined to take the wheel. As to Shione, she thought it was unwise for us to get drunk or leave the castle or come see you or, well, anything we wanted to do. Marbon admitted. She never lets me do anything fun. Valerius grumped and went over to the shelves where the dragon plushies were arranged by color.
I think she just wants to make sure. What are you doing?
Caden asked, as Valerius picked up the green dragon plushie. Valerius was nose to nose with the plushie. He thumped a finger against the plushie's snout. You are a naughty dragon, Ilarian. More than naughty. If you continue to anger me, this is what will happen to you.
Valerius, that's for sale and...
Valerius ripped off the green dragon plushie's wings.
Oh boy.
Caden put a hand against his forehead as the wings fluttered to the floor. Marbon snickered and clapped. Well earned! Well earned! I can just imagine Ilarian's expression if you did that to him for real. Though there would be a lot of blood and roaring. That would make it less amusing. Valerius grabbed a hold of the green dragon plushie's head. Caden waved his hands in the air.
No, Valerius, I can fix the wings, but not... Ah!
The last was let out in a long sigh as Valerius wrenched off the head. And I will do that to you if you keep speaking of Caden being yours. He is not yours. He is mine. I mean, he is his own, and that is the way of things," Valerius told the headless, wingless green dragon plushie. He shook it, and stuffing went everywhere. Caden actually felt a swelling of warmth within him at those words. Valerius was jealous. He was possessive. He was going to stand between Caden and the titanic green dragon. And then he heard the door open behind him from the shop. "Caden," Wally began. "Rose said you were getting the plushies. People are getting all riled up out there without more merch to buy." "Oh, my God! What are you doing? You've killed him!" Wally said the last as he caught sight of the dismantled green dragon plushie. He raced over on his little legs and yanked the mangled plushie from Valerius's hands. He shook the plushie under Valerius's nose, which required Wally to get up on his tiptoes, and yet more stuffing drifting to the floor. "You break, you buy." Valerius's eyes narrowed, and his hands went to his hips. He was wearing one of those revealing yet dangerous-looking armor pieces over his chest. If he hadn't been swaying and hiccuping, it would have been scary to be glared at, him like that. "Ilarion had to be destroyed. It was necessary. This is a doll, not the Green Dragon King. I'm with you on his destruction, but not on the destruction of my merch," Wally cried and shook the plushie again. "Considering how much money you owe Valerius due to your improper licensing of his image, Wally, I wouldn't complain about one destroyed plushie," Marben remarked. Seeming suspiciously sober at that moment, Caden looked at him with narrowed eyes. Had Marben been drunk at all? Who knew how this ambrosia worked? It could only affect dragons, though that seemed unlikely. How many dragons had Marben gotten drunk after all to test it out? Wally's mouth opened and shut, rather like a goldfish's. Caden winced. Marben was right about what he'd said. Valerius's image, both human and dragon, sold more than anything else in the store combined. If Valerius really wanted a cut of all that merch, it would put Wally out of business. Or if Valerius didn't want Wally to sell his Black Dragon merch anymore, it would severely cripple his business. "Well, yeah. So, here." Wally grabbed another green dragon plushie and thrust it into Valerius's hands. "You can destroy this one too. Go to town. Better yet, let me make a line of all of the dragon shifters for you to take out." Caden had to hold a hand over his mouth to stop the laughter from pouring out, as Wally put one of each dragon shifter plushie in front of Valerius, as if they were an army about to attack him. Wally gestured to the line. "Go to town. Show them who's boss." Valerius pursed his lips, and then he booted the red dragon. May flew across the room and impacted the wall. Caden took out his phone and started to film as Valerius continued to take out each plushie in turn. The gold dragon was punted into a shelf. The purple dragon was sent spinning across the floor. The others were sent flying into every corner of the store. Only the blue dragon, Valerius's own black dragon, and Caden's white dragon remained untouched. Valerius picked up the white dragon and his own black dragon for a moment. Caden thought that, like the little girl had demanded he do, Valerius would press their snouts together in a kiss. But instead, Valerius tucked one under each arm, and then picked up the blue dragon as well. "Esme will like this," Valerius said. That was when he realized that Caden was filming him. One of his eyebrows lifted. "What are you doing, Caden?"
Recording this moment for posterity, or something like that."
Caden bit his lower lip. He so wanted to laugh. "I think not. Give me that phone." Valerius tried to snatch it away, but Caden kept it out of reach and put the phone safely into his back pocket. Valerius was not as graceful when drunk, so he overcompensated and nearly face-planted when Caden sidestepped him. He only caught himself at the last moment. The Black Dragon King scowled at him when Caden remained safely out of his grasp.
"Don't worry, my king,"
Caden snickered.
"This footage will only be used if I have to blackmail you to do something important."
"Caden!" Valerius cried. Caden snickered again.
Or to torture you at a later date with how cute you are when drunk.
Caden, you are being very bad, Valerius rumbled, yet a smile was tugging at his lips.
I think it's also necessary to record this to remind you of how handsome you look when you smile and laugh.
Caden told him. Valerius blinked. Was he tearing up? The Black Dragon King quickly looked away from him. You inspire that.
Not Ambrosia?
Caden teased, but Valerius went on in that serious way. No, you. Just you. Suddenly, both Marben and Wally were looking anywhere but at him and Valerius. Caden's mouth felt very dry.
So, other than to destroy an army of plushy dragons, what brings you here?
Caden asked. I promised we would see one another today. Valerius mumbled.
Oh, right, yes, it's awesome you're here.
Caden scrubbed the back of his neck. It was more than awesome. It was the best present ever. You know, Marben, perhaps we ought to, go somewhere to discuss, something, shall we? Wally gestured towards the door to the shop. Marben inclined his head and hobbled after Wally out of the warehouse, leaving Caden and Valerius alone.
I'm going to owe Wally for that. He can't stand Marban.
Caden turned back to Valerius. The Black Dragon King had placed the 3 plushies he evidently intended to keep on a shelf at eye level.
Let me get you a bag for those. It'll make it easier for you to carry,
Caden said, and leaned past Valerius to grab a bag from a box nearby. The side of his body brushed against Valerius's front accidentally. Valerius grasped Caden around the waist before he had a chance to get the bag.
Oh God, sorry,
Valerius was kissing him.
Hi there, it's your friendly audio editor with some disappointing news. We can't publicly run this portion of the chapter because it contains adult content. We do this to comply with other platforms' content policies, but also for our more sensitive listeners who don't care for the more sensual or disturbing scenes. If you want to hear the missing parts, you have 2 choices. The first is to subscribe to our monthly membership. Members get all the unedited chapters for every audio story, not just this one. They're uploaded in their own private podcast feeds to stream directly from the site. You can also buy the audiobooks, which are available on our own shop. No subscription necessary. If you want to read what happens next, you can either buy the books from Amazon or the shop. But this entire story is completed, and you can read it in full as part of your membership content. I'll post a link to sign up for the membership and the specific audiobook and book volume that this scene appears in.